Welcome to Everyday Greatness, a nice little show proudly brought to you by major sponsor ARA Group, one of Australia's greatest supporters of community projects. Everyday Greatness is a show hosted by a real human being, talking to some real people about real human issues that will help make you feel proud again of simply being a good solid Joe bag of donuts. Here's your host, Barnaby Howarth.
Welcome to Everyday Greatness, and thanks for listening. I'm your host, Barnaby Howarth. This is a show designed to help people realise there is greatness in being an everyday Harry Sacker Rolls. If you were looking for a single human being that sums up what real-life resilience is, that person would be Giants netballer Sam Poolman. Sam showed individual resilience as she fought her way through the ultra-competitive world of elite netball, and made it to play for her favourite team, the Giants. Her parents helped her shape family resilience in her life by driving her 2 hours to training in Sydney from up near Newcastle, a 4-hour round trip for a 2-hour training session. And Sam now is building community resilience in young netballers in the Hunter region through the Aspire program. Sam loved the opportunities she got training with netball in the Hunter region so much, she decided to give something back, and she's helping talented young netballers get all the elite training, physiotherapy and well-being they need without their parents having to drive 4 hours to do it. When Sam was 12 years old, she was a bit unsure of herself and her place in the universe. She wanted to be a professional netballer, but she was so tall, she felt like the odd one out. But Sam used her resilience to help her stick to her game plan. She kept her head down, trained hard, and hoped her dream would come true. It has come true, and so much more. Sam plays in Australia's premier netball competition. For the team she loves so much, she cried when she got the phone call asking her to play for the Giants. Sam's so much more than just a netballer though. She's a positive role model who gives back to the community that gave her so much. If you were looking for a single human being that said the phrase, "nice guys finish last" to be wrong, that person would be Giants netballer Sam Poolman. Sam's far too wise for me to handle on my own, so I've called in some help. I brought the big guns along, so I hope you don't mind, Sam, but I'm going to ask my 13-year-old stepdaughter, Imogen Kickett, to ask you a few questions. Imi was one of our attacking weapons for the Asquith Magpies under-13s netball team that made the grand final last year. Imogen's confidence is growing with every achievement. She was a semi-finalist of Talkfest. She gave the speech of the night when I married her mother, and she recently got 18 out of 20 in a maths test. So I'd like to introduce Imogen Kickett. Imi, welcome.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Bananabus. Go Giants.
Thank you, Imogen. So Sam, let's jump straight into it. Whenever you mention the name Sam Poolman, one of people's first reaction is, "Oh, she's so nice. She's such a lovely human being." As a young netballer, were there times you doubted whether being a nice person could help you fulfil your dream of becoming a professional netballer?
What a introduction, and I'm delighted to be interviewed by you both today. But I think, when you talk about being a defender and being nice, and I think I still do, my teammates will tell you that I say sorry too much. So being nice and a defender, doesn't really match up. So maybe I found the wrong position on court. But yes, I think I'm a nice person.
Well, a lot of people agree with you. Being a good sport used to be a source of pride, but competitive sport seems too ruthless to win and to be nice at the same time. Is being a good sport useless these days?
I think you definitely get the white line fever, but for me, I guess that's my family and my parents and what they've instilled in me, and in being part of a team sport is, I think, being a good person. And yes, sometimes maybe I bring that on the court too much, and maybe I am a bit too nice, but I certainly am competitive and strongly back my team. But I don't think there's anything wrong being a good person and a nice person, and definitely progressing to where I am today isn't an easy road being a nice guy, but look, that's who I am, and I'm proud to be a team first kind of person, and that's why I started playing a team sport when I was 7 years old, and still why I play today is because I love being part of a team, and I enjoy being nice to people and getting the best out of people around me.
You mentioned your parents there. Did you ever stop and think when you were a young girl how much of an effort it was from your parents to drive you 2 hours to training in Sydney? Or did you just shrug your shoulders and say, oh, that's what all parents do?
I'm one of four, so I have 3 brothers. So I hope that I was grateful when I was younger, but I just had a passion and a dream for sport. And my dad would run all my brothers around to local sport, and mum would do the trips kind of back and forth to Sydney. And yeah, like I said, I certainly hope that I was grateful during that process, but I think they were just happy to play their role in me achieving my dreams, and they were always adamant that if there was a day that I didn't want to do it anymore, that there was no pressure for them, that I could, we could stop going to Sydney and stop wherever I needed to. And I think that was so crucial for me. There was no come on pushing me or anything like that. I think naturally as an athlete, you're hard on yourself, and what you need sometimes from your parents is a bit of positivity or that support or just listening to you, vent or talk through the game. So as long as I was progressing myself and still wanted to be there for them, they were happy to play their role. And now when I do things like this and have achieved my dreams, I'm very grateful for my parents. The amount of money a week that they would spend on petrol, hotels, food, and not only that, but they would go to work all day, one of them would pick me up. We'd drive, like you said, 4-hour round trip, get home anywhere between 11, 12, 1 a.m. They would get up and go to work the next day and also run a household. I think my brothers, when they were younger, they loved that they had a bit more freedom and they had dad, but incredible commitment, and not only from my immediate family, but my grandparents played a really important role as well in picking up my brothers if they needed to, and financial support. So, an incredible commitment from my entire family, and my brothers were, so supportive. They could have easily been, jealous or anything like that. But yeah, a real family commitment for me to be able to achieve my dreams, and I'm extremely grateful that they've allowed me to do that, and now I'm living what I always wanted to achieve.
Lovely. So what are your biggest challenges these days as a professional netballer that tries to be a nice person at the same time?
I think that's probably the last 12 months, something that, that I continually speak to a lot of my mentors about is how do you keep progressing and ticking over with staying true to who you are and what your values are and who you believe in. And for me, yes, some days it's easier than others, and I have great mentors in my life that I can kind of roll situations off or ask them for advice and kind of keep me to, who I am and what I believe in and my purpose. And keep me a bit grounded in who I am, because at the end of the day, I think you want to live your life in who you are, and you don't want to be impacted by situations or other people, and it's not easy. But it's having good network and people around, so a good team around you to keep you who you are, keep you on your track of your why and your purpose. And also for me, cheering me on and giving me that positivity and a little bit of a cheerleader when you need it, so you can keep taking a step forward.
Thanks so much, Sam. They're just general warm-up questions. Now I'm going to bring in the big guns.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask Imogen Kickett to ask you a few questions. Sure. Imi, fire away.
As Barn said, my netball team was the Ascot Magpies. We lost our grand final last year, but at least we beat the team once when they were undefeated. So I've got to say that.
Well done. Achievement. Yep.
Yeah. What does your captain, Joe Harden, say to pump you up before games?
So before a game, every player, I guess, has their different routine in how they prepare, whether that's loud music or like to go out in the court or like a bit of quiet time. And then we get addressed by Julie, our head coach, who kind of goes over our game plan and what we want to achieve in that game. And then, Joe Harton usually wraps it up for us, and she's quite good at I guess picking the moments and what's required. So sometimes, if we need a bit of energy and some motivation, or if it's a little bit more direct and to the point, she's got a really good gauge in what the team needs prior to us running out in court.
What can I do to be a better netballer?
I think keep working hard. That's my I guess a bit of my story and my journey is I wasn't, yes, I was tall, which is a great asset to being a netballer, but I wasn't a naturally talented netballer. My club team, when I was probably about your age, we made the grand final every year and lost to the same club every single year. So I never won a grand final when I was younger and was always in the B team for my club. So for me, it's all about attitude and working hard to continue to grow and develop. And for me, that kind of mindset and those qualities will beat talent any day.
Do you still get nervous before netball games?
Absolutely. Do you get nervous?
A whole bunch.
Yeah, I think someone told me once when I first started playing for Adelaide Thunderbirds, and we were talking about nerves, and he said to me, show me, a chair. And I showed the chair, and show me your microphone, and do all those little things. And they're like, show me nerves. I was like, what do you mean? Like, nerves it's not an object, it's just there. So if you acknowledge that they're there, but not let them control you, that's okay. I think they show that you care and that you're excited and you want to be there. So acknowledge that you have nerves, and then for me, what's your job? So what are you going to go on and concentrate and try and do, rather than acknowledging that they're there, but let them take over. We train so hard. You've been playing netball for so long. Nerves are good. Let them sit there, but go out and play the game that you love.
What do you like to do to relax?
I don't have much time to relax. No, spend time with my family and friends. I have a couple of nieces and nephews who are just full of energy, and I love. So I spend all my free time back in Newcastle, where I'm from, and usually something to do with Aspire. I can't help myself. My time off goes to things that I'm passionate about.
Thanks, Sam. Back to you, Barnes.
Thank you, Imogen. That was intense. I hope you survived it, Sam.
That's great questions.
So a lot of sports people say they want to give back to the community, but you actually do. What does the Aspire program do to provide for young netballers in the Hunter region?
Yeah, so I started my pathway in the Hunter region and progressed, I guess, each stage of the Netball New South Wales pathway. And my first professional contract was with the Adelaide Thunderbirds, who at the time were the most successful club in the ANZ competition, which was, as you can imagine, that phone call, pretty incredible to play with the likes of Beck Bully, Nat Von Berto, who was captain of Australia, Renee Ingalls, Aaron Bell. Like, we had an absolute incredible team. And my first year won a premiership, which is, kind of unheard of for a rookie. And I spent 4 years in Adelaide and, like you mentioned before, came home and played for Giants Netball. And when I came home, I guess in those 4 years, everyone kind of forgot that I was a New South Wales homegrown athlete. And I asked a couple of questions of what netballers in the Hunter region were next or coming through, or, who was the next superstar that I needed to look after. And no one could really answer me. And I'd had some wonderful opportunities in Adelaide in terms of coaching pathway athletes, working for Netball SA, and I found all of my knowledge, from my pathway, from working in Adelaide. I wanted to give back to our community in Newcastle in the Hunter region, and it started off as one program called Aspire Netball with 30 girls, and it was all my passion and ideas, and it's certainly, I guess, the need and the gap in the pathway was there, because after those first couple of sessions, the girls just absolutely loved it, and it started to become a real pathway in the Hunter region, and an idea and something that I was passionate about, making sure that more opportunities were given to Hunter region athletes rather than just one or two progressing that maybe had the parents that would drive them like mine or financially could afford it. I wanted to give more opportunity to our entire region. So that's a bit of why it started, and just over 3 years on, it's just growing and athletes now are really starting to achieve some great things.
Very lucky young netballers in the Hunter region. So as a professional sports person, a lot of people think you guys are made of steel and you don't show your feelings and that sort of stuff. When's the last time you cried at a sporting event?
Oh, I thought you were going to say when was the last time you cried? And I said, yesterday. At a sporting event. Two that come probably to mind. I probably get more frustrated and angry, which doesn't really go with this whole conversation about me being nice. But it's probably the only time you'll get me angry is if it's been a bad game and we've lost. Probably two. One for me in the hub last year. It was a real challenging time. We were away for so long, and it was towards the back half of the season, and as you can imagine, very tired bodies, both physically and emotionally, and I lost a family member the morning of a game, and I thought I was okay, and I wasn't when it got to the game. I think there was just a lot going on, and then the second probably that stands out for me was after our grand final against Sunshine Lightning in 2017, the first year. And I was actually, just off court because I think I was, you just want it so bad and you've put in, and it wasn't our day, like we didn't play well. So, not too often tears. I think usually frustration because you haven't performed or you've lost, and obviously we all go out there to win. But I think that's just the passion and emotion that goes with the sport. We put so much time and energy into it, and I think if you didn't show some sort of emotion, you just wouldn't be at that level.
Thank you, Sam. Now, firstly, before I go on, I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us on Everyday Greatness, though. Thank you, Imi, for drawing out some of Sam Poolman's pearls of wisdom. Thank you to Laura Elliott and Netball Central for giving us somewhere to record this podcast. Thank you to the ARA Group, our major sponsor for Everyday Greatness. Thanks to Look Studio Australia for recording this podcast. And thank you for listening. I hope that when you put your device down in a little while, you lift your head up, push your shoulders back and walk down the street, proud of being an everyday Joe Bag of Donuts. I hope you can join us next week, where I'll be speaking to the co-founder of North Shore Mums Smiles to You, Michelle Key. Michelle and I will be talking about how giving back can bring communities together. Thank you again for listening, and thank you again, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Everyday Greatness, proudly brought to you by major sponsor ARA Group. If you'd like to stay up to date, check out our pages on Facebook and Instagram, or to listen to more episodes, go to everydaygreatness.com.au or wherever you get your podcasts.